we are just hearing from Buckingham Palace after the Duke and Duchess of Sussex have spoken out. Meghan and Harry, their bombshell interview with Oprah Winfrey, saying again, and let me read this, the whole family is saddened to learn the full extent of how challenging the last few years have been for Harry and Meghan. The issues raised, particularly that of race, are concerning. While some recollections may vary, they are taken very seriously and will be addressed by the family privately. Harry, Meghan, and Archie will always be much loved family members. Joining us now to discuss this is Daisy McAndrew, who's a journalist and royal commentator. Daisy, thank you so much for being with us with this breaking news. What do you make of this statement? The headline for me is that Buckingham Palace does not deny any of the bombshell allegations that we heard from Harry and Meghan.
I think even though it's such a short statement, there is quite a lot to read into it. Obviously, there's the reference to sadness, and I'm sure that that's absolutely genuine. They will be extremely sad. As you spoke about it, the bombshell revelation about the accusations of racism, they are clearly stating that they are going to deal with that privately. Now, they also go on to say that, as you said, the recollections can differ. I think it's quite easy to read into that, in that they're trying to work out who said what to who and how it could have been interpreted in this way if it wasn't intended in this way. The trouble with the accusation that a senior royal suggested to Prince Harry, who then repeated the conversation to Meghan, that there were questions being raised about the colour of the skin of their unborn children. Bear in mind, this conversation was supposed to have happened before the wedding. Obviously, that was a very, very shocking statement, and many people have been spending the last 24, 48 hours trying to work out who it was who made that comment. Of course, when Oprah Winfrey then said yesterday it wasn't either the Queen or Prince Philip, Prince Harry's grandparents, of course, that didn't help the feeding frenzy. That simply ignited it. It gave it more power, if you like, because people were starting to whittle down the possible list of suspects. And it was getting closer and closer to home. Many people looking at Prince Charles or Prince William and saying, was it them? This statement is clearly designed to try to pause or abate that feeding frenzy, to try to throw the wolves some meat so that they can eat on that, rather than trying to work out who it was who did these statements. But I'm not sure, I don't know about you, Kirsten, whether that's going to work.
There was such a tremendous pressure for Buckingham Palace to respond. And we should say that this response comes against the backdrop of some public appearances by the royal family. Prince Charles visiting a vaccination center earlier today. Of course, we saw Princess Kate, who was in a car yesterday, as well as Camilla. Talk about the internal mood, if you will, as the royal family tried to write this statement. We know that clearly they put a lot of thought into it, because it's now more than 24 hours after that initial interview was released.
Absolutely. Yesterday, there were rumours that a statement had been written by palace authorities, palace officials, but that it was the Queen herself who paused it and said, no, she wanted to sleep on it. She wanted to reflect on the interview. She wanted to give the British public a chance to watch the interview. Bear in mind, it was only broadcast on our televisions here in the UK last night, not Sunday night as it was for American viewers. And of course, we also knew that Oprah Winfrey had said that she had other unaired clips that she would be drip feeding out over the last 24 hours or so. So I think the palace, or the Queen particularly, wanted to see what the mood was, wanted to have time to reflect, and didn't want to rush into anything. Of course, that is very in keeping with her personality and her style of leadership. And I think she wanted to add a specific line in the statement about the race allegation, not to ignore it, which I think she quite rightly felt would simply make matters worse. Of course, the problem with this accusation, like any accusation which doesn't name a specific person, is it's very difficult to have an inquiry if the couple in question are refusing, as they say they are, to say who it was who made these comments before their wedding. So it's difficult, of course, when we look at inside, from the outside, and say, well, they said they would do an inquiry into the allegations of bullying that came out last week about Meghan, but they're not saying they're going to do an inquiry into these much more serious allegations. But of course, Meghan was named by those who claim that she bullied them. They are not naming the specific member of the royal family. And here in the UK, they do have a difficulty with public sympathy. I think there is less public sympathy here than there is in the States. I think the sympathy for the young couple has increased since the airing of the interview. But before the interview, there was a lot of feeling that, goodness me, can't they, they say they want privacy, can't they go quietly? They've already turned their backs on their family. The grandfather's in hospital, Prince Philip is in hospital. So, why can't they keep quiet? I do think some of that has been addressed now, but not all of it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank all of you out there.
Thank you as always.
Thanks to at home.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you so much for letting us into your homes during these extraordinary times.